The Puck Portfolio with Andy MacNeil.
Hey, welcome to the Puck Portfolio. I'm your host, Andy MacNeil. I'm here on weekdays to provide NHL projections, betting advice, and strategies to help you make informed bets throughout the NHL season. This show is sponsored by NorthStar Bet, which is now available across Canada. I'll be using NorthStar Bet's odds on this show. They offer early odds on the next day's NHL games and a whole lot more, so check them out via the link in the description below. But yeah, if you enjoy the show, please like the video and subscribe to the Canada Sports Betting YouTube channel. It helps out a ton, and I really appreciate it. But we are going to get into a schedule breakdown really quick here. I won't spend a whole lot of time. I factor this into my handicapping ahead of time. So the load column gives you a little bit more context, tells you whether a team is playing 2 games in 2 nights, 3 games in 4 nights, 4 games in 6 nights, 5 games in 7, or 6 games in 9. Like you see the Blue Jackets, they're playing their 6th game in 9 nights against the Flyers on Sunday. The rest column tells you how many days rest teams have across the league. So you can take a screenshot of this and take a look at it a little bit more a little bit later. But I'm going to move on to my projections because, like I said, I factor this stuff in to my handicapping. So yeah, let's get into Friday. The Toronto Maple Leafs taking on the Detroit Red Wings in the second Global Series game. Alex Lyon confirmed to start for the Red Wings. Ilya Samsonov will get the start for the Maple Leafs. Slight change to the projection now that Lyon is confirmed. I originally had Reimer and Lyon split 50-50 in the projection for Friday's game, but with last night's update, the confirmation, there's been a slight change, not entirely related to goaltending, and now the Red Wings plus 155 according to the projection model. The Sabres in Winnipeg taking on the Jets on Friday. Eric Comrie, former Winnipeg Jet, is expected to get the start for the Sabres. Not sure who's going to start for the Winnipeg Jets. Could be Laurent Brossoit, could be Connor Hellebuyck. Some confusion out there right now as far as who will be the Jets starting goaltender. Alex Tuch, he's expected to be back in the Sabres lineup on Friday, but he'll be a game time decision according to head coach Don Granato. So that is something to monitor there for sure. I'm projecting Hellebuyck will start both games this weekend. I know he won't, but just to be safe from a handicapping perspective, I'm going to list Hellebuyck as the starter for both games against the Sabres and later on Saturday against the Coyotes. Then finally, on Friday, we've got the Panthers in Anaheim taking on the Ducks after their loss to the Kings on Thursday. But there's a chance that Aaron Ekblad and Brandon Montour could both return to the Panthers lineup on Friday. If that happens, Florida would be closer to a minus 185 favorite, currently minus 167 at NorthStar Bets. But yeah, let's get into Saturday. And I don't have a lot of interest. I know it's going to be a fun game here, but kicking things off on Saturday, it's the third Global Series game between the Wild and the Senators. The model says this one is a coin flip. That's what the sportsbook says, minus 110 on each side. The Wild should be a small favorite according to the projection model, minus 103. So no value on either side, but I'll be tuning into that one for sure. I've got a lot of interest here on the Flyers, though. I mean, it's the middle of November, and the Flyers are a top 5 team in expected goals percentage, and they're taking on the Vegas Golden Knights, and Vegas is pretty good. They're a tough team to bet against. They've got that championship swagger that you really hate to bet against because it seems like they're in every game, whether they play good or not. But I like the Flyers here, plus 140 on the money line at NorthStar Bet. The projection model has the Flyers at plus 120. Of course, Carter Hart back in goal after a little bout with food poisoning. And the Flyers, man, they've been playing some really good hockey, and it's not the early season anymore. We're in the middle of November now, and they're still one of the top teams in expected goals. So you've got to start to give the Flyers some respect, and I don't think the market is yet. And the Flyers are a good bet at plus 140 as a result. 1 unit on the Philadelphia Flyers, plus 140. One unit to win 1.4 units. Next up, the Chicago Blackhawks at Nashville Predators. Nashville, they ranked 24th in expected goals percentage at 5-on-5 in November after ranking 2nd in expected goals percentage in October. The Blackhawks, they've been awful, owning just 38% of the expected goals at 5-on-5 since the start of the month. Somehow they've gotten worse after ranking second last in that category in October. So yeah, I'm not going to bet on the Predators though, even though the model is showing minus 194, because I don't know if UC Saros is going to be in goal on Saturday or not. It could be Kevin Lankinen for all we know. Maybe the Predators are looking to stir things up a little bit. UC Saros has not been playing his best, not been playing all that good this season, having one of his roughest stretches that I can recall to date in his career. as of late. So that might be something to watch out for there. And I think that's enough reason not to lay the big price on the Nashville Predators, currently minus 177 at NorthStar Bet. The Edmonton Oilers taking on the Tampa Bay Lightning. Now, I locked in the Oilers at plus 107 this morning on the money line. But that has since moved minus 104 now, according to NorthStar Bet's odds. And that means the Oilers are no longer a good bet. They're starting to rid themselves of some of that loser energy, but they're not exactly playing great right now. I don't want to reach here. They played 2 poor games, in my opinion, against the Islanders and the Seattle Kraken. They've won 3 in a row. They still rank as one of the best teams in the league, though, when it comes to controlling the puck and getting the better of the scoring chances. That's why I like the Oilers at plus 107. I don't like them at minus 104. I'm betting numbers, not teams. The Boston Bruins hosting the Montreal Canadiens. And I've got to ask, is the rivalry back? Because it kind of seemed like it was when these two teams met up last week. It got pretty spicy. Montreal picked up the win in extra time. I think the Bruins are going to be up for this game as a result. The model thinks Boston should be a minus 275 favorite. NorthStar Bets has the Bruins at minus 265. Not quite enough value to justify a bet on the Bruins at a big price at minus 265, but there is enough value to bet on the Pittsburgh Penguins at plus 143. Pittsburgh is a frustrating team, but this is exactly the kind of opportunity I look for when it comes to betting on a team like this. The Hurricanes, they've been struggling for a while now. They've got good underlying metrics, but so do the Penguins, and the Penguins are coming in with something to prove after losing to a depleted New Jersey Devils lineup. They lost to the Devils 5-2 on Thursday. The Devils didn't have Jack Hughes, Nico Hischier, or Timo Meier and still beat the Penguins. So, yeah, Pittsburgh, they're right there with Carolina in terms of their ability to control the puck. So this one should be way more evenly matched than the odds suggest. The Penguins priced as too big of an underdog here. The model thinks that Carolina should be a minus 118 favorite. Penguins plus 143, 1 unit to win 1.43 units. The Islanders, they're in Calgary taking on the Flames. And speaking of underdogs, they've yet to win as an underdog yet this season. They are on a 7-game losing streak. They're 0-8 as dogs heading into Saturday. And while I like to ride the Flames a bit here, they put together some pretty dominant performances in the last month of November. And their schedule has been filled with some pretty easy games. But, you know, don't get me wrong. I think piling up some wins is a good team for this team. I mean, even Jonathan Huberdeau looks like he's having fun again. And that's important. So they've got a few more easier games coming up here. The Islanders and the Kraken. But then they run into teams like Colorado, Vegas, Dallas, Carolina, New Jersey, Tampa Bay, Florida, Los Angeles, Philadelphia, some of those teams more than once. And so it gets a lot tougher. And the Flames, they're starting to look like the team that we thought they would be. But the market is pretty quick to react to that. And I don't think there's going to be a lot of value betting on Calgary down this stretch here in the short term. Maybe some in the long term, though, when they start to play some of those tougher teams. The Rangers, they're in New Jersey taking on the Devils. Jack Hughes is expected to return to the Devils lineup on Saturday after suffering an upper body injury on November 3rd. Jack is 7 points behind his brother Quinn Hughes for the NHL scoring lead despite playing 7 fewer games. Unfortunately, the Devils, they're down another important forward in Timo Meier. New Jersey was able to stomp the Penguins without Hughes, Meier, and Hischier in the lineup, though. So, I mean, getting Hughes back, it should be a game changer. But the Rangers, they might get Igor Shesterkin back between the pipes, and that'll be a game changer for them. So the Devils, the model has the Devils on the money line at minus 105. The Rangers plus 105. That's assuming Shesterkin is in goal and Hughes is back for the Devils. No play there, as the market sees this one as a pick'em. Talked a little bit about the Coyotes and how I could possibly end up betting them on Saturday against the Jets. Barrett Hayden, he's going to be out 4 to 6 weeks. That's a big loss for the Coyotes. Not one of their most important players, but an important player nonetheless. Yusuf Alamaki, he's expected to be out until November 22nd. It'll all depend on who starts in goal for the Winnipeg Jets. If it's Laurent Brossoit, and if that number, that plus 150 price tag, sticks around long enough, that will justify betting 0.5 units on the Coyotes at plus 150. The Blue Jackets in Washington taking on the Capitals. Pascal Vincent must be thinking he's the coach of the Cape Breton Screaming Eagles or something, because he's benched Patrick Laine, benched Johnny Gaudreau a couple of times, and not just benched them, but benched them for the final minutes of the game, the most important time. The Blue Jackets, they're down by a goal. They've got the net empty, 6-on-5, looking for that tying goal. Patrick Laine, Johnny Gaudreau, nowhere to be found. That's not what you want to see when you're betting on the Blue Jackets, so that's something to keep in mind. Definitely not something you want to see if you're betting on player props that involve Johnny Gaudreau or Patrick Laine for sure. And Capitals goaltender Darcy Kemper, he was back on the ice on Friday, after leaving Wednesday's practice with an injury. So it looks like he'll be back between the pipes on Saturday when they host the Blue Jackets. The Colorado Avalanche at the Dallas Stars. I know a lot of people will have a lot of interest in this one. I don't. The model says Dallas should be a minus 130 favorite. That's what the sportsbook says. So I just skip over this one. It's really not something I'm going to spend a lot of time on here because from a betting perspective, I don't have any interest. The Seattle Kraken at the Vancouver Canucks. Seattle, they snapped a 3-game losing skid on Thursday, but it was a nail-biter. It went to a shootout, and it was against the Islanders. Can't really pat yourself on the back for that one. The Kraken, they've allowed 4 goals per 60 minutes over their last 7 games. Terrible, terrible stretch. You can blame the goalies for allowing roughly 1 goal above expected, according to Evolving Hockey, but the defense, it hasn't been bad. It hasn't been good either, and mediocre defensive play paired with bad goaltending is not a good mix at all. And finally, the St. Louis Blues in Los Angeles taking on the Kings. The big story here is that Pierre-Luc Dubois is now listed as day-to-day after crashing hard into the post on Thursday against the Panthers. If he's not in the lineup, that's a big loss for the Los Angeles Kings. The projection model sees the Kings as a minus 191 favorite. If he is in the lineup, if he's not in the lineup, probably down closer to that plus 170 range where the Blues are at. So it wouldn't actually warrant a bet on the St. Louis Blues if Pierre-Luc Dubois is not able to play on Saturday. But that does it for today's show. A little bit of a mixed up show today because of some technical difficulties. Hoping to bring the show live very, very soon with producer Jake coming on board next week at some point. That'll be a lot of fun. That'll make things a lot easier on me and a lot better for you, so I can just continue to give you the best hockey betting content that I can each and every day. Anyway, thanks for joining me today. I will see you on Monday. Good luck with your bets.